We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated. In a few moments, I will sign an executive order to begin eliminating the Federal Department of Education once and for all. Smart people don't like me, you know, and they don't like what we talk about.
You ever seen someone double down so hard they accidentally dig themselves a coffin? Because that's the story of Maga America in 2025. These folks screamed America first like it was a magic spell, only to wake up and realize the rest of the world's been muting them since 2016. And now, Europe's not just giving them side-eye, they're straight up posting no MAGA hats, signs like it's a bouncer at a queer bar in Berlin. So today we're watching real Americans, farmers, small biz owners, everyday voters, finally admit what the rest of us knew from day one. They got played. Grab your popcorn, and maybe your student debt balance for contrast. This is gonna hurt in the best way.
So I saw this photo in a post just a little while ago, and from a factual standpoint, this is very much incorrect. If you're traveling to Europe and you own a MAGA hat and you want to wear it in public, you're definitely able to do so. You're going to get some looks, but from a legal standpoint, you're perfectly fine because MAGA hasn't been determined to be a terrorist or hate organization, even though there's evidence to the contrary.
Okay, hold on. Before we even get to the Europe part, let's talk about the economic delusion baked into this. MAGA voters spent years pretending tariffs on Chinese steel were going to bring back coal jobs, while Elon Musk bought the damn presidency like it was a used Tesla on Craigslist. And now they're shocked that Europeans don't want to share a tram with someone wearing a hat that symbolizes blocking birthright citizenship and gutting the EPA. Bro, your hat isn't patriotic. It's basically a kick-me sign, embroidered by oligarchs. Europe's got universal healthcare, paid leave, and actual worker protections. You think they want your freedom to pay $200 for an EpiPen? Please.
See January 6th and everything Donald Trump has ever said or done. But that having been said, I personally feel that anyone that has ever owned a MAGA hat or has been given one or purchased one and worn one in public should be forced to wear that fucking hat for the rest of their goddamn life. Because when MAGA dies, and it will, they should not be able to blend in with the rest of us. They should not be able to stand up and say that I never believed that women shouldn't have bodily autonomy. I never said that the Muslim religion was incompatible with American society. I was never okay with people being forcibly removed from the United States without due process. I never thought that it was okay for the Secretary of Defense to send fucking war plans in a goddamn signal chat. I believe in taking an approach of Aldo the Apache in Inglourious Bastards. You want to take off that uniform? That's fine. I'm going to give you a little something you can't take off. So it should be with the fucking MAGA hats. Because them motherfuckers need to be identifiable in public forever. If you're going to put it on, keep it on. Then we'll let history decide.
I told you so. Not me personally, the entire planet. This isn't anti-Americanism. This is anti-Trumpism. And let's be clear, Europe's rejecting the policy chaos, not the people. Economically, the US is a cautionary tale now, while Germany invests in green energy jobs and France caps insulin at 30 month. Spats was what? We've got states banning gender-affirming care and letting rural hospitals collapse. You can't attract global talent when your freedom means choosing between insulin and rent. Europe knows that, and they're politely blocking your LinkedIn DMs.
Would you move to America in 2025?
No. Never. No.
No interest in moving there. It's a complete hole.
No, because I am transgender.
You'd step over there and you already lose like 10 of the rights that you have here.
It's a disgusting place. They've got no NHS whatsoever. It's an absolute dump.
They just think they're the best. They're like, oh my God, we have freedom, but most other countries have freedom.
I don't like the culture, whether it's tipping, guns, the thoughts on abortion.
If you're dying or having a baby, why you got to pay for it?
There's nothing about America that I think I would prefer over here.
You don't have like free speech at all there.
I wouldn't last a minute over there, I don't think. It's definitely stricter over there than it is over here. 1000%. If I was to go anywhere in America, it'd be like somewhere like Canada.
JD Vance's motorcade was blocked by protesters as he arrived in the UK today and made his way to meet David Lammy, our Foreign Secretary. Protesters made it absolutely clear that JD Vance is not welcome in the UK. They had banners, they had that classic meme, the one he really, really hates, and of course they had tons of Palestine flags to show JD Vance that we in the UK stand with the Palestinian people against the genocide that he and his regime is enabling the Israeli state to carry out.
Okay, real talk. This protest isn't just moral, it's strategic. European countries know that a second Trump term means more trade chaos, more NATO freeload accusations, and more Elon Musk-style Doge budget cuts that gut food stamps while giving billionaires another tax cut. And guess who pays for that instability? Small businesses, farmers, regular people. Meanwhile, the EU just signed a $300 billion clean tech deal to outcompete us. They don't want Maga anywhere near their supply chains because Maga economics considered burning your own house to roast a marshmallow.
The message is loud and clear. JD Vance and Donald Trump's regime in America represents the rise of fascism across the world, and we will resist it in the UK and stand shoulder to shoulder with our brothers and sisters around the world, in Palestine, in the USA, who are resisting deportations and resisting the Trump regime. We will shout at him wherever he goes in this country.
If Jesus was here right now, would you let him in?
Of course I would.
Why?
As long as he went through the proper, as long as he came here legally. As long as Jesus Christ came to this country legally, we would let him in.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. No, thank you.
Well, when we found out that President Trump was running for president again this term, we immediately went out and bought a flag. Hey, if you didn't get the email on Monday, you're safe. And I'm like skipping down the halls, right? And our friends that didn't vote the same, there's always that back and forth conversation now. It's like, you knew this was coming, but we didn't. Like, nobody that I've talked to understood the devastation that having this administration in office would do to our lives, but other people that we love and care about too within the Mid-Ohio Valley. Absolutely, I feel a little bit betrayed.
You thought Trump was going to protect your family farm? While he handed $28 billion in bailouts to agribusiness giants and let your local co-op drown in red tape, let me drop some econ truth. Trump's anti-globalist trade war destroyed soybean exports. China stopped buying. Prices crashed. And who got the bailout? Not you. Big Ag. You didn't vote for change. You voted for a con artist who promised to drain the swamp while installing a gold-plated toilet in it. And now Europe won't even let you wear your participation trophy in public. Karma's got a sense of humor.
We literally get slapped in the face with no explanation. They fool you a lot. They get in office, they don't do the things they said they was going to do or promise the people.
Donald Trump and Elon Musk and this fictitious entity Doge, this unlawful entity Doge, has any actual interest in rooting out government waste, fraud, and abuse. They're the only ones committing those things. They are the only ones committing those things.
And Trump just sits there like this. So Trump Elon Musk bought a president. He bought the presidency of the United States, and now he's going to destroy us.
If we knew what we know today and the vote was tomorrow, I don't know what I would do because of my morals, but I just don't think I could do it again. I don't think I could vote for President Trump again.
I told you so. In 2016, in 2020, in 2024. But hey, better late than never. Economically, this regret makes perfect sense. Under Trump 2.0, we've got inflation from reckless tariffs, collapsing investor confidence, and a national debt exploding because they're borrowing to fund more tax cuts for the top 1%. You know who's paying for that? Not Elon Musk, not JD Vance, you. With higher gas prices, worse healthcare, and now international shame. Europe's not hating, they're just watching a country self-sabotage and saying, we're smart, hard pass.
A Melbourne pub patron has been left stunned after being asked to remove his Donald Trump Make America Great Again cap or leave the venue. Angelo Notto was celebrating at the Captain Baxter Bar in St Kilda on Australia Day when he was approached by management.
Well, I was told it was political incitement, which I think is completely nonsense.
Bad air day? Bro, your hat's the bad air. Look, private businesses have every right to refuse service to people whose politics make employees feel unsafe, especially when your apolitical hat is worn by folks who cheered when the Capitol got stormed. And economically, this is just market feedback. If your brand, Maga, is associated with harassment, bigotry, and conspiracy theories, don't be shocked when bars, hotels, and tour companies say, we'd rather lose your dollar than our dignity. That's not censorship, that's capitalism working exactly as advertised. You love the free market until it doesn't like you back.
It wasn't. I was actually just having a bad hair day, and I liked the hat and I wanted to wear it.
Mr. Notta says that the manager had an American accent and he wonders if the request was politically motivated.
This is the first time I've ever done this, worn a red Trump hat at the bar. So I was a little, nervous. I want LGBTQ conservatives to come out of the closet and be seen and have these conversations with people. It's very important.
Stephen Barraza is no longer allowed to wear his red MAGA hat inside Sacramento's Badlands bar. Badlands posted their MAGA ban on social media, reading in part, recently a guest entered the bar wearing MAGA attire, which led to discomfort among some patrons. And moving forward, MAGA-related attire will not be allowed in the venue. Barraza took this photo of himself inside Badlands Friday night and believes Badlands' new rule is because of him. He says he was in the bar for an hour and he was the one made to feel uncomfortable.
There would be a couple people that say, oh, you don't belong in here. You should be ashamed of yourself for wearing that.
Barraza was in this group of log cabin Republicans, a political group representing LGBTQ conservatives. They were together for the California GOP convention.
This is discrimination, plain and simple.
No, this isn't discrimination. It's curation. You ever seen a gay bar let in Proud Boys? No, because safety isn't discrimination. It's common sense. And let's talk economics. LGBTQ plus consumers spend over $1.4 trillion annually in the U.S. alone. Businesses that alienate them lose money. But MAGA folks keep showing up like they're owed hospitality just for being American. Newsflash. American isn't a get-out-of-accountability free card, especially when your movement voted to strip rights from your own LGBTQ allies. Europe sees that hypocrisy, and they're not buying it. Literally.
Preston Romero is the Sacramento Log Cabin Republican president and was also at Badlands with Barraza.
President Trump has been one of the most outspoken supporters of the gay community.
MAGA voted against our community. Stay out of our safe space.
Brandon Harder says the Badlands MAGA ban is good and questions Log Cabin Republicans' policies on gay rights.
The jury's out on if they're actually a part of the community. When you vote against the rights of your own people.
Oh no, pearls will be clutched. This woman went into a jazz bar in Indianapolis called Chatterbox and claims that they refused her service simply for wearing a MAGA hat. And of course, she recorded a video of this and posted said video, so let's review that really quickly and I'll be right back.
Hey, I have a question.
No, we're not answering questions. Get out of the bar.
Why?
Because you're a Trump supporter.
I know, but don't you guys want our money?
No, actually we don't. Get out of my bar right now.
You're not welcome.
I'm not fucking around. Get out of my bar.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. Out.
Because I'm wearing a Trump hat?
Yes.
That's wild.
I don't care. Get out.
We can call the police or you can just leave. You know this is like discrimination, right?
Oh, boo-hoo! Boo fucking who? Get out of my bar.
Yeah, that video went a little viral this weekend. Right-wingers posting the shit out of that. And of course, she's having her little 15 minutes. She's doing interviews with the news, talking about this terrible experience that she had. Now, the news tried to talk to Chatterbox and get their side of things. They declined speaking to the news station, but they put up a statement on their Instagram for all to see. It says, on Friday, March 14th, a group of individuals visited Chatterbox and intentionally misgendered and harassed a Chatterbox employee, resulting in them being asked to leave by our staff. They then continued verbally assaulting our patrons and staff, threatened our establishment, and returned to record a video which has now been posted on multiple social media platforms. Well, now that paints a different picture than just simply wearing the hat being the reason, but the news did ask her about that, and this is what she said.
Hensley claims she did not misgender or harass anyone at the bar, and that she would have willingly taken off her hat if she was asked.
Oh, you would have taken it off willingly? If they just asked nicely? You sure about that?
Right after she misgendered the employee on camera? Yeah, sure. Economically, this whole saga is a masterclass in brand toxicity. Chatterbox Jazz Bar didn't ban MAGA hats out of hate. They banned them to protect their workforce, their customers, and their business license. And yet, instead of reflecting, she drags in her black friend like he's a prop in her racism defense. That's not allyship. That's exploitation. Europe watches this and thinks, why would we welcome tourists who treat our values like a buffet? Spoiler, they won't.
But what we have here is a situation where there's two different stories. One is claiming that she came in, she harassed employees and misgendered an employee, and she's saying, no, just came in wearing my hat. It's a she said situation. If only we had something we could look at that would maybe give us some insight into either party and whether or not they're trustworthy. Hey, let's really quickly listen to this one part of the news interview where she tells her side of how things went down.
The bar, before we could even get a word out or a drink, he just looked at me and he said, no. And I said, excuse me. He said, absolutely not. He said, your hat, you need to leave right now.
Well, that's interesting. They said you misgendered an employee. You said, no, that didn't happen, while literally misgendering an employee. So, I'm inclined to believe them. Like I said, that video went viral. Not only did the right share it all over the place, they started bombing that business with bad reviews and calling them and making threats. But guess what? Not just that business. No, several businesses called Chatterbox. There's a place in Knoxville, Tennessee called Chatterbox. It's veteran-owned. They're very accepting of everyone. They've been getting hammered with negative reviews and threatening calls when they weren't even part of this. But honestly, this whole situation, this was just capitalism that conservatives seem to love. Any business has the right to refuse business to a person, especially someone who they're saying is harassing and misgendering their employees. In other words, being disrespectful. That's definitely grounds to refuse service. And she admits there is probably nothing wrong with them refusing her.
They probably have every right to kick me out. If you don't want me at your bar, that is what it is. But also, the man that was with me was an African-American male.
Oh, that's my favorite part. I don't know if what they did was actually wrong, but also a guy who was with me was black, so maybe racist. It's funny how the people who accuse everyone else of playing the victim card and always wanting to be victims are so eager to be victims themselves. So to her, I would say, show me on the Maga doll where that bar hurts you.
Hey, fellow Americans, what do we think of these anti-MAGA protests going on in other countries? You didn't know about this? I didn't know about it either, and I read the news every day. I only learned because one of my business acquaintances in a foreign country said, hey, I haven't seen you post about this. I didn't post about it because I didn't know about it, but I did a little bit of research, and yeah, there are protests in Asia, in Europe, in Africa, in Central and South America. There are people protesting in solidarity with us against this fascist regime. And there is no news about it in the United States. There are no posts doing numbers about it in American social media. And I actually asked some of my more informed friends, and they're like, I made a post about it and it got taken down. I made a post about it and it did no numbers. So clearly they're throttling the fact, because he bought all the news, they're throttling the fact that other countries are supporting us in resistance against him. And I never asked for videos to be shared, and you don't have to share this video. Just share this sentiment, share this knowledge with other Americans. Because if there's one thing we need to know right now is that we're not fucking alone against this shit.
Well, that's the most honest thing a MAGA voter has ever said. And let's unpack the economics of that confession. You prioritized cultural grievance over fiscal responsibility. You let Trump blow up the deficit with tax cuts for the rich, then acted shocked when your town's school closed. Meanwhile, in Europe, countries like Denmark run budget surpluses while giving citizens free college and parental leave. They don't hate America. They just prefer functioning democracies that don't treat the Constitution like a napkin. So when they say MAGA not welcome, they mean we don't import democratic backsliding. And honestly, good for them.
We didn't vote for Trump and be like, oh, Trump's not going to break any laws. Like, everybody that voted, we knew that he wasn't going to follow the Constitution.
Yeah.
We didn't care.
Yeah, I have a feeling
so that's the point. We want to change so bad that we didn't give a crap what the cost was.
That Trump supporter just said the quiet part out loud, and studies actually back up her claim. A survey of more than 5,000 Americans found that 67% of Republicans scored high on the right-wing authoritarianism scale, which is a psychological measure of authoritarian attitudes developed after World War II. The survey evaluates support for aggressive leaders who demand strict obedience, enforce traditional values, and silence dissent. The problem? It's fundamentally anti-American. The whole point of America was to decentralize power so it never concentrated in one person, all to preserve the freedom of the people. The experiment of democracy that our founders envisioned was explicitly to defend from people like Trump who want power concentrated in themselves. There were even debates during the founding about whether to create a presidency at all, but MAGA seems to think the whole point of America was for it to be white, Christian, and uphold traditional values. It's clear that they're not interested in defending the Constitution. They're more interested in power. They've cheered Trump on is he's encroached further and further on the founding document. He's tried to block birthright citizenship, guaranteed by the 14th Amendment. He's denied people the right to a trial, guaranteed by the 5th Amendment. Then he defied a Supreme Court order, undermining the separation of powers in Article 3. He's also unilaterally imposed tariffs, violating Article 1, which gives only Congress the right to taxation. He's retaliated against colleges for allowing free speech, guaranteed under the First Amendment. He's even trying to run for a third term, a violation of the 22nd Amendment. MAGA needs to admit that they don't like America. They aren't patriotic. They just want power over people they don't like, and they're destroying the experiment of democracy in the process.
Yes, finally. Patriotism isn't waving a flag while letting Elon Musk dismantle the Department of Education. Real patriotism is protecting public goods, social security, clean air, voting rights. And Europe gets it. They built post-war economies on solidarity, not survival of the fittest grift. That's why their small businesses thrive, their farmers get real subsidies, and their citizens don't go bankrupt from a broken arm. MAGA voters wanted a revolution, but forgot revolutions can backfire. Now they're stranded, unwelcome abroad, betrayed at home, and stuck wearing a hat that history's already labeled cringe. And to the rest of us watching, this is why we organize. This is why we vote blue. Because democracy isn't a meme, it's a muscle, and MAGA's been bench pressing lies so long they tore their rotator cuff.